I believe it's not discussed enough almost. I feel like people are so private with their income and private about what they spend money on and how much they have and how much they don't have.
Hey everybody, this is Stephanie O'Connell from stephanieoconnell.com, and I have a great group of women with me here today talking about money and why we make certain decisions and why sometimes we don't and where we disagree. I want to talk about pay transparency and what are your thoughts on pay transparency, sharing income, sharing your personal income.
I think pay transparency is super important if you're in the place to do that. If it doesn't risk, you losing the potential of getting called into HR or your job. But also at the same time, I think it's like a double-edged sword because people like to compare. We naturally do that.
I feel like it's kind of like almost an embarrassing topic to people to be like, oh, I don't make as much as you, or I make more than you.
People naturally compare themselves, so the double-edged sword is, I think it's great to be transparent, but if you are transparent and you are well below or way above, that could really change the dynamic of a relationship.
A lot of my friends that are outside of school are making like so much money, and I'm like, how? And then some of my other friends are making not as enough. So it's like, I want to know how people balance their lives around this money. Like, I want to know how people are paying their rent while going on vacation. I want to know how everyone pays for everything.
I think that Carmen made a really good point about making sure that you're cognizant of any rules that your employer may have. And if you're an independent contractor, very often you may be asked to sign an NDA regarding your compensation. So you do have to be very careful not to violate that. Not to say there aren't whisperers and that you can't share it with a few of your girlfriends or peers in the industry that you trust. But it's important, especially we have this proliferation of things like Facebook groups where there's the idea that it's confidential, but it's not always.
I know like what everybody at our company makes more or less. No, that's not true. I know what the people our level make, not necessarily above, but I don't, it's probably not a good thing, but I'm like pretty comfortable asking people what salaries are.
I think a tremendous resource is your HR department on the other side as well, because you can go to HR departments in many large companies and say, what is the salary band for my job title? And you can use that information to make your case to get a raise. Or you can know, I'm at the top of the band for my job title, I better step it up and ask not for a raise because that's not going to go far. I need to get a title change.
It's something that I don't think has to be talked about a lot, but like if people were to talk about it, then it would feel more like, we're all in it together.
I'm not going to pretend that, we were like working minimum wage jobs and we saved $200,000. Like that's not fair to like the people who are now like looking at my story and saying, can I do that? Why can't I do that?
If I'm speaking to like a lawyer who just came out of law school and she's like, oh my God, I'm making 80 grand, like it's so low. It's like my starting year. And I'm just like, that's nice.
80 grand
double
amazing.
what I make.
I'll be honest, like for me, sometimes it felt a little, there was some shame around like how much I made. Maybe they think I should be doing more or spending money here or helping more people. Yeah. Like I felt like people would then figure that they could tell me what to do with my money.
I'm very pro-transparency, and that's great for my professional life. But I think in my personal life, there's now this judgment of, well, you're making all this money, you can afford this. Right. Yeah, right. Why do you not want to have an expensive wedding? What's wrong with you? Yeah. And now it's a judgment of my value system because I do have the money.
And so sometimes it feels like you feel discounted because you didn't struggle hard. You earn a lot of money. That means you're not really struggling. So I think there's like a lot of conversation where people don't want to share how much they make because they don't want to get judged like their story doesn't matter.
A lot of the stuff that we're struggling with now is being able to, live day-to-day life with the amount that we get paid. And there's a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck and they're trying so hard to make ends meet, but they can't. Some people just don't understand.
And I prefer not to. I don't like talking about it,
I'm the kind of person, and maybe that's why I feel like I'm in the position I am, and I've noticed that about anyone who is ambitious and successful and happy and that tends to earn money, is that when they see other people who earn more or doing things, like they get inspired by it. So even though I might not be making, you know, in my entrepreneurial pursuits right now, like 6 figures, I love seeing that other people are. It also allows you to see what's possible. So like, even though like, you know, with a trusted circle, whether that's like your coworkers or fellow entrepreneurs, it is good to talk about, wow, like you're getting paid that much for like that job, whereas I didn't even know that was possible, and I was so underselling myself.
We've just had this conversation. Well, I feel like I've had this conversation with everyone here and beyond, because I agree with you. For me, when I see somebody running $1 million business, I don't think, oh, you know, that person. I think, oh my gosh, this is what's possible. I think income in isolation can be a tough metric to look at. Even from a professional context, someone who has your same job might be making more money than you, but there also might be other things that we don't know about that. So I think in those cases, I think the pay transparency is still valuable, but I also want to know what those metrics are that the difference is attributed to. We're not just chasing numbers, we are chasing the metrics behind them. One, it doesn't serve me to have you charge 10 times less than me. Right? Because that'll bring everybody down.
I do believe in making the pie bigger. I do think that if you are true to yourself, you have to have your own value proposition that you bring to the table for a client or an employer that will stand out and make them want to hire you. But at the same time, if you can expand the industry and expand and lift up, hopefully, the pay scale for the industry, lift up everyone's pay, that's going to be a plus for everyone. You want your peers and your competition to make more money because it does raise your ask.
When I first moved to the city, a coworker of mine who had a year less experience than me, didn't have the certifications that I have that are like kind of the industry standard and or like the gold standard for our industry, came up here, got a job, shared his income, and I was like, great, I'm gonna get that too. Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna put you through, got an interview, got an offer. His salary was 75 and they started me at 63. Like, well, I'm gonna try to negotiate this. And it's probably not my strongest thing. So I said, hey, I have these 2 certifications and I have X amount of time, and I also like led a team within my current, you know, in my current role. And then I think I got like $3,000 more. Yeah, and it was just like, I'm not.
Could you ever call them out? Could you ever call them out and say, I know another employee who's comparable?
That's what I don't know. That's.
Well, you wouldn't tell his name or anything. Well, you just say, I know for a fact there are other employees that have been hired within the last year that had less experience.
I ended up rejecting it because I had like the cold hard facts.
What I'm hearing from your story though, like you should actually feel really empowered, and like you were in such a position of power because you were able to walk away. We've all probably been in the situation where it's like you really wanted something, and whether you needed it or really wanted it, or I mean, and a lot of women actually need it. They need it to like survive, pay bills, you know, they're single moms, take care of their families, and you know, like they're put in positions where they have to take it because they don't have the financial resources to have more options, which is why it's so important. Yes, like on the other side is to learn how to negotiate and to be more transparent with people you trust. Is the other side of it is to become financially like stable, so that way you don't have to accept whatever's thrown at you. You can say to someone, you know what, I know my worth, and like that's not okay.
Thank you so much for tuning in. To learn more about each of these women, check out the links below and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Leave us a comment with what you think, and make sure you subscribe for more money talk from these wonderful ladies and more.